If you've spent any time on my channel, you know that I have a deep, borderline unhealthy obsession with classic high-octane games. I miss the era where games didn't take themselves so seriously, where a game's entire design document could be summarized as, make it stylish and make it go fast. So when I first saw the trailers for Denshattack, my jaw hit the floor. On paper, this game sounds like it was cooked up by a madman. It is a fast-paced, off-the-rails, literally, 3D arcade platformer where you perform skateboard tricks, grinds, and flips, but not with a board, but with a passenger train. And not only that, it's also set in a dystopian Japan. I feel like a madman just reciting my own writing, but it's true. Denshattack has much more to offer, and today I'm going to be taking a deeper look into what makes Denshattack tick, and if it's worth your money. Before I dive in, I just wanted to thank the team over at Fireshine Games, the publisher, for providing the channel with a key for review. I was not influenced or told what to say. Every opinion here is my own. And if you enjoy what I do, consider liking the video and subscribing for more content just like this. Alright, let's dive in. So the setup here is wonderfully unhinged. You play as Emmy, a rookie Denshattacker who is a rebel train surfer trying to take down the corrupt Miraido Corporation. Miraido has sealed Japan's major cities under massive environmental domes after a major climate event made the rest of the world uninhabitable, or so they claim. It's up to you and the vibrant pack of outlaws to tear through the tracks, win over rival gangs to join you, and reclaim Japan from Miraido. On the surface, it sounds like a very serious story, but really it's anything but that. The characters all have these colorful, quirky designs with light-hearted dialogue and short and to-the-point cutscenes, which I really do appreciate. This is an arcade game, and to me the gameplay should be king, so how is it? If I had to describe it in one word, that word would be phenomenal. I'll be the first to admit that I am just not great at skating games, but I try my best and I love them anyway. Denshattack was very easy for me to get into and progress through, but hard for me to master. Let me explain. So before you jump into each level on this Super Mario style overworld, you're given a list of things to complete on that level. Score, time, and dares, as well as different collectibles. Just simply completing the level objectives is enough to progress each campaign level, but each level has different requirements for each, so let's go ahead and just go down the list together. Score is determined by, you guessed it, your score, and that score is increased through the tricks you perform. Almost every trick you perform in Denshattack is done with the right stick, and there's varying levels of complexity to each. Some might be a simple flick to the right and then you rotate the stick to the top, and others may have you flicking the stick up, left, down, wherever. And as you trick more and more, your combo goes up and multiplies your score when you either decide enough is enough or when you crash out. In my case, it was mostly crashing out, so Denshattack has a ton of obstacles that require a very specific input to dodge. So it almost becomes kind of like a rhythm game at times. You're waiting for the perfect time to dodge a target and keep your score going. That could mean jumping at the right time, jumping to another track, blowing your horn, riding a wall, hanging below a track and then swinging side to side, and many other dangers that could ruin your run. I would say the game is pretty forgiving overall when it comes to these obstacles. The game will slow down and give you a small window to press the correct input, but if you press the wrong one, you're gonna crash. I did it many times where I would jump instead of boost, or, you know, vice versa, so it's just something you kind of have to get used to and something you gotta learn. Thankfully, crashing doesn't reset the level from the beginning. There are checkpoints, but your chance at hitting gold is slim to none. This is a very fast game even with those windows, not just from the second-to-second gameplay, but also just the length of the levels. Some of these levels are only 2 to 3 minutes long, and that's a good thing. You'll want to go back and fix your mistakes to master the level. Mastering the level also involves beating the time limit because, believe it or not, Denshattack is also a racing game. Of course, you're usually racing against the clock, but in some instances you're also racing against others with laps. So not only do you have to worry about your combo, dodging obstacles, and your time, but you also have to worry about completing dares. Dares are essentially level-specific tasks. They can be as simple as blowing your horn at a specific place on the map, or performing X number of tricks on a wall, or as complicated as performing a set trick at a set place on the map, or, you know, completing a very specific trick multiple times in the level. Once you complete a level, you're graded based on all of these stats and given an overall level grade. If you get silver on even one of these specific categories, you're relegated to silver overall. It doesn't matter how well you did on the other categories. So you're expected to complete all of these tasks to get the gold. Like I said, this game is very easy to pick up and progress, but it is pretty difficult to master. Going back to the dares, collectibles are a part of this. These are gears, paint cans, and film reels. Each one unlocks something different. Gears can be spent in the shop and unlock different trains. These aren't just cosmetic either. Trains will have a list of pros and cons. Like, for example, maybe a train will be able to pull off tricks faster but not be able to manual as long. Or maybe a train will have a wider window to complete a trick, but it won't be able to grind as well. It's pretty cool and lets you mix and match based on not only your own playstyle, but also the level itself. The paint cans unlock different stickers for your train, so these are more like your visual customization options. I really like this sticker with the big vinyl record on the side of it. That's pretty much what I used for most of the game. And finally, the film reels complete the magazine. It's essentially a visual guide to everything going on in a specific region. The characters, the lore, and what you've gone through so far in that region. There's a journalist who follows you around and documents the Denshattackers, and as you collect these film reels, he fills in different parts of the magazine. It's pretty cool seeing how this all comes together, seeing the visual progress of what you're doing. I don't know what it is incredibly satisfying. It tickles something in my brain. I dig it. Once you've gotten to the end of a region, it's bookended by a boss fight against the leader of the region. These boss fights are, in layman's terms, I'm just gonna lay it out there, they're batshit crazy. I don't want to spoil too much, but I'll go ahead and just show the very first boss fight where you're fighting this giant mech. Yeah, giant mech. And at one point, it'll fire its arms at you. So you essentially jump on those arms and hijack them, and then steer the arms back to the mech to punch it in the face. Like, how cool is that? There are so many more badass moments in this game that I don't want to spoil in the video. It's just something you have to see to believe. It's very fun, very over the top, and they are the perfect ending to each region. They're awesome. I love them. These boss fights are much more platforming focused, much more cinematic, but like I said, it's still incredibly fun, and they add to this game's already crazy amount of variety. And I just realized I haven't even gotten to this yet. The entire game is backdropped by one of the best OSTs I've heard in an indie game, I think, ever. I mean, this OST was created by a group of industry legends. Names like Richard Jacks, who worked on Jet Set Radio and its sequel, as well as the legendary Kota Takahashi of Ridge Racer fame, and of course, the legend himself, Takanobu Mitsuyoshi, the man behind the legendary Daytona USA soundtrack. They all make contributions here, among a bunch of other talented composers. I'm going to go ahead and link all of their names in the description. It is a stacked roster that jumps between genres too. There's jazzy tracks, there's upbeat punk rock tracks, there's some funky stuff going on, there's electro going on. It's really difficult to keep tabs on all of it, but it coalesces into this recognizable, distinct soundtrack that I would recommend to anyone, and it is a perfect backdrop to a game like this. If you're a fan of those 90s Sega arcade games, you're going to be right at home here. You're going to love this. In conclusion, if you're a fan of Tony Hawk, Jet Set Radio, or that golden era of Sega, this is an easy recommendation for me. All of the different genres blend together so well, the platforming, the racing, the skating. When you finally get good enough to master a level, you really do sort of enter into a flow state that feels so good not only to perform, to be a part of, but to execute, to complete. You know, you complete a level and this wave of satisfaction just washes over you. Like, holy shit, did I just do that? Denshattack is a brilliant, polished indie revival that has a genuine technical challenge hidden beneath its colorful, unhinged surface. It launches today, July 15th, 2026 on Steam, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and the Switch 2 for $20. Yeah, 20 bucks, that's it. Which to me is incredible value for such a polished game. It is sharp, it's fast, it's Denshattack. Before I go, a massive shout out to my highest tier Patreon member, Arcade Racing Central, as well as all of my supporters over on Patreon. You guys are the absolute best. My name is Mercy, and as always, have a good one. I'm headed off to master more of those tracks.